welcome back to my channel. Today's video is an exciting one. This is something that I've been getting requested to do quite often, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. So I'm going to be ranking my makeup collection. Today is going to be the first day of my ranking series. So I'm going to do a series of me ranking all of my makeup products. So you guys will have to comment down below which ranking video you want to see next. But today we are going to be doing my bronzers. So I go through my entire bronzer collection and rank them all. So I'm going to start with my least favorite all the way up to my favorite. I'm going to share why they are my favorites and what I like about them. I also show swatches of each one of them. I do want to quickly just point out that some of these bronzers that are in this, this is just my collection, so this is going to be my preferences. Some of them I'm ranking a little bit lower because of the color and so certain things like that. Not everything is going to be because of the formula, but for the most part I do go into details on each one of the formulas. But why don't we go ahead and start now with ranking my entire bronzer collection. Coming in at number 26 is this one here from Sina. This is a bronzer called Dawn. So it is a bronzer blush duo, and the reason I have this one as my least favorite is just because I don't really see this much as a bronzer. To me, this seems more like a highlight. It has a bit of a bronziness to it, but it is more used as kind of like an all-over face powder, and honestly, I don't notice much of a difference when I use this. Yes, it adds a sheen, but it definitely doesn't help bronze my skin by any means. So that is why this one is at my least favorite. It's not a product that I can't use, it's just a product I don't prefer as a bronzer. Coming in at 25, we have this one here from Pure. This one is called the Mineral Glow Illuminating Bronzer, and this one is just way too deep for my skin tone. I also don't really love the formula of this one. It's a very dry formula, and you can even tell just in that swatch, it's quite patchy. It does have a nice like luminosity to it, but every time I use this, I just feel like I come out looking so orange, and it is really hard to blend on the skin. When you think of a mineral wear, I think of something a little bit more sheer, something that is going to be, you know, buildable, but this one to me just doesn't seem to blend out ever. It kind of just sits really on the skin, and I don't like that in a bronzer. At 24, we have this one from Wet n Wild. This is the Queensland bronzer. This was a part of their Fire and Ice collection. Really the only reason that this one is in here is it just doesn't work the best for my skin tone. I do like the formula of it, but for me, this one just comes out looking way too orange on me. I think it would be really pretty on a deeper skin tone, but as I mentioned, these are my bronzers and how I rank them in my collection based upon color, formula, whatever it may be, and for me, this just isn't one I reach for very often. I am actually probably going to declutter this one out of my collection after this video just because I feel like someone else can get better use out of it. Number 23, we have this one from Too Faced. This was part of their holiday collection. This one is called the Gingerbread Tan, and this bronzer, I just didn't love the formula of this one. It is very shiny, and again, this one was hard to blend out when I applied it. I just feel like it sat on my skin really weird, and it does have quite a bit of luminosity to it, almost too much. I like a luminous bronzer, but not one that's going to be overpowering, and this one for me just looked really orange on my skin. I couldn't blend it out well, and it also just was way too shimmery for my preference. Coming in next, this one is at 22. This one is from Winky Lux, and this one is called their Coffee Bronzer, and I have the shade Mocha. Now, this is one that I actually like the formula of this one, but I hate the smell of it, which is why I'm ranking it so low. I really just don't love the smell of coffee. I am such a weirdo, but I don't even really drink coffee, and for me, the smell of it just isn't something I really want on my face. I do like the formula of it, although I think the shade is a little off for me. I just hate the smell of it. I don't really like scented products when they're way too overpowering, and for me this kind of ruins it because it is a pretty bronzer and I do like it. I just don't like the smell, so anytime I use it, it's kind of one of those smells that lingers, so I don't find myself reaching for this one very often because of that. Number 21, we have this one from Il Makiage. This one is called the Wannabe Bronzer, and I like this one. For me, this one is just a little bit too drying though. It is a little bit more of like a baked bronzer type of feel. It just, I don't know, I just feel like it doesn't look the best on me. Like I said, it's just a little bit too dry, and it does have a slight sheen to it, but when you actually apply this on the skin, it kind of skips around a bit, and it's almost like a weird color. Like it's almost like a peachy. I almost think of this more as just like a blush. Like I would rather use this as a blush than a bronzer shade, just personally for myself. Next in my collection, I have this one from MAC. This was a part of their Aladdin collection. This is the Your Wish Is My Command bronzer. And this one I liked. I just think it is a little bit too red for my skin tone. Again, like I said, a lot of these in my collection are just bronzers that don't work for me specifically. But I still do have them in my collection. I just need to do a declutter, to be honest. But this one is nice. It has a nice sheen to it as well. I just think it pulls too orange on my skin. It's just a little bit too orange for me. I do like the packaging though. I think it's really cute. And I really did like a lot of the items from the Aladdin collection. I think this one would work really great on someone that it is more suited to their skin tone. At 19, I have this one from Palladio. This is the matte bronzer, and this one I think is just called the matte bronzer. It's botanical vitamin C infused, and I like this one, but it's almost too cool toned and too matte for me. I like a bronzer that is matte, but I almost like one that has a little bit of something to it. It's like I don't want it to be too matte, and this one's just like straight matte. Like it's a very matte bronzer. I can use this one actually to contour with. I like the shade a little bit better to contour, but not really to use as a bronzer all throughout the face. As you can tell, it's just a little bit too cool for my skin tone. So I like this one just to contour with, but not so much as a bronzer. It is a nice formula, but like I said, it's pretty matte. So if you like a super matte formula, this one is pretty affordable. You might like this, but for me, it's more of a contour shade. Okay, next on my list is this one from Catherine Cosmetics. This is number 18. This one is called their Natural All Over Bronzing Powder, and I like this one. I think it's nice. Again, it's a little bit red for my skin tone, but it does have a very nice sheen to it. The reason I'm ranking it a little bit lower is because I hate the packaging. I hate how tiny the packaging is. Like, it's so cute, but it really is just so small that it's hard to get like a bronzer brush in there. I like that it has a mirror, but again, it's just too small for me to use like all the time, which is why I find myself not really reaching for it. It is a little bit deep on me, but this one is one that blends out really nicely. It does have a nice sheen on it as well, so it looks really pretty on the skin. I just really don't love this packaging, which is why I'm ranking it so low on my countdown. Next at 17, we have this one from Urban Decay. This is their Beach Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Bronzed. And I think that they had two different bronzers a part of this collection, and I like them. They are smooth formula. This one is just really red. I just don't love like a red toned bronzer. I just find they don't look really nice on my skin tone. I just like a little bit something a little bit more cooler, and this formula is nice. It's very silky, very smooth to blend on the skin. I just don't prefer this color on me. I think the packaging is really nice. I like that it has a mirror, but I wish they had almost a few more options in this bronzer, because I do like the formula. I just don't think the shade match is the best for me. All right, at number 16, we have this one from ColourPop. This is kind of where we start to get into the bronzers that I actually really enjoy using a little bit more. So this one is from ColourPop. This is Talk to the Balm, and I really do like this one. Talk to the Palm. I think I said balm there, but palm. And I like this one. I think the formula is really nice on it. ColourPop has pretty nice pressed products. I think they're known a lot for like their Super Shocks and things, but they really do have nice pressed products. This one has nice sheen to it. I'm sorry, my swatches are kind of all over the place. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I think that this has a really nice sheen to it. It's a really pretty color. I do really like this one. I just have so many that I love a little bit more than it, which is why it's a little bit higher on the countdown, but I still do really enjoy this one. Next up here at number 15, I have from Too Faced. This is the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I know this is so many people's like holy grail absolute favorite, and I do like it. I'm ranking it a little bit higher though, because I do feel like this one is just a little bit too matte for me. Kind of the same thing as I was talking about. Like, I like a little bit of sheen, a little bit of something to my bronzers, and this one's just pretty matte. It's also not the best color match for me. I think I would do better. I think they have a lighter shade, like one lighter than this one, that I thought about picking up, because I think I would like that one a little bit better, but I do have too many formulas that I enjoy more than this one to actually pick up another shade in it. But it is a good bronzer. I just think I have more that I like a little bit more than this one. Okay, next up at number 14, we have from Wet n Wild. This is the Ticket to Brazil. I think this one was limited edition. I'm not sure if you can find this one anymore. This was such a pretty bronzer. I recommended this one a bunch when it first came out. It has such a pretty sheen to it, which is what I love about it. But the color is a little bit different. It's more of like a terracotta, but I think it's really nice on the cheeks. It does have, like I said, a bit of a sheen, but it's not anything like too intense. It blends out really nicely. I like this packaging too, that it's a little bit larger. I just think that this one is a really great bronzer from Wet n Wild. I really enjoy it. I'm not sure, like I said, if you can still get this one, but if you can, I definitely recommend it. I think it's a great formula. From Milani, we have their Baked Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Glow. Now, I really like this formula from Milani. I don't see a lot of people talking about their baked products, but they have really nice products when it comes to their baked line. This one right here is very, very gorgeous. It has such a pretty sheen to it. It has a bit of glitter in it, but nothing too intense. It just looks really pretty. I reach for this one a lot in the summertime. Just gives you kind of that all over bronze, really, really nice glow. And I think it's really great when it's blended out, and you can't really go overboard with this one, which is what I like about it. Next up, we have another bronzer from MAC, and this one is their what is this called? The Canyon Dreaming Bronzer. I really, really like this one. It is such a smooth formula. It's very similar to the Aladdin one, but I find this one even more buttery than that one, and the color just works a lot better for me. It's kind of like that, a little bit cooler, like I was mentioning that I like. This one has a nice sheen to it. It layers really nicely. It looks really pretty. I can use it to contour too sometimes if I'd like, and I just think it looks really pretty blended out. It's really smooth. I don't know if this collection is still available from MAC, but there was quite a few products I didn't love from this collection, but the bronzer was definitely a hit for me. Okay, and at number 11, we have the Hoola Bronzer from Benefit. I know that this is so many people's favorites, but when I was going through my collection, I don't have this one ranked like the highest. It definitely almost made it to my top 10, but not exactly. I like this bronzer, but it's not a favorite for me. I use it quite often. I still like it. I still recommend it. I just feel like for me, there's just so many other bronzers I enjoy more that when I find myself using this one, I don't feel like I'm too excited to use it. You know what I mean? It is a good matte bronzer, but again, like I've said over and over again, I like a little bit of something extra, and this one used to be like everyone's favorite bronzer, and I did like it for a really long time. I still do like it. I still would recommend it. I just feel like it's a little bit overhyped when it comes to the price on this one, and the box packaging isn't my favorite as well. I just feel like it's a little bit hard to get your brush in there. I would prefer if it was in like a compact. I do know they have palettes that they offer this one in, so I'd almost rather it in a palette form because I just feel like it's easier to get your brush in there. All right, and we are making it to our top 10. So at number 10, I have this bronzer from Too Faced. This one is called their Natural Lust Bronzer. This one came out in their Natural Lust line, and I really, really love this one. So it's actually a bronzer that has a like matte side. It has a little bit of sheen, so it's not exactly a matte side, but it also has this really pretty highlight side on it. And I tried to not include too many that were like mixed like this, but this one I really like swirling together, which is why I did include it in this. I think it's so pretty when you mix the two, but also it's really pretty each on their own. It has a very nice sheen to it, but it doesn't look like too red or anything. I love the packaging. I love how big the compact is. You get a lot of products in here, and it's really pretty the two different ways. Like I said, you can use this one as a highlight, this one as a bronzer, mix them, or just use each on their own. I just think they're really, really gorgeous. They did a really good job with this collection as a whole. I know I really liked the eyeshadow palette from there as well. All right, and at number 9, we have the Bronze Goddess from Estee Lauder. This is a really gorgeous bronzer. I love the pan size. I like these larger pans when it comes to my bronzer because I feel like you can really get a big brush in there. You'll see me kind of mention that when you see the larger ones, but this one is a really, really nice bronzer. It has a nice sheen to it. It's really easy to blend out on the skin. The color actually looks really good on a lot of different people, I feel, and this is just a formula that every time I use it, I'm just glad I picked up this bronzer. I never am disappointed when I use this one. Like I said, it's just a nice sheen. It's a nice color. I feel like this is a staple for a lot of people, and I do really like it, which is why it made it into my top 10. Okay, and then the next bronzer that I have here at number 8 is a newer bronzer, but this is one that I've really, really been enjoying, and I made it pretty far on my countdown. So this one here is the Sunlit bronzers, or the Silky Matte bronzers from Milani. The shade that I have is Sunlight, and I also have Sun Kiss, so 1 and 2. Shade 1 works better on me right now when I'm a little bit more fair. I also think that this one is a little bit easier when it comes to blending it out, just because it's not as cool tones as this one. I feel like this one's a little bit more cool tones. You can kind of see there. And I like this one, number 2, for contouring, but for bronzing, I prefer shade number 1. These have a really pretty sheen to them. They also blend out really, really nicely. These ones remind me a lot of my high-end bronzers. I think they're really great. They're only $9.99, so $10 for these. I think the packaging is really nice on them. I like that they have like the little design on them. I think it's super cute. I really, really enjoy these. I'm glad that I found them. I don't have a ton of products from Milani, but these are definitely one of my favorite products that I have from the brand. Okay, and at number 7, this is an oldie but a goodie. This is from Tarte, the Park Ave Princess. This has been a favorite of mine for years. It is a really, really really nice blush. It has such a pretty sheen to this. This is one that I feel like I don't wear all the time because it does have such a sheen to it. But when I do apply this, my favorite way to use it is actually to contour and then to use it like right over top of that. Do like more of an intense contour, but this is just so pretty on the skin. It gives such a nice sheen. It's not too overwhelming. It doesn't like highlight your texture or anything. I love the packaging on it. It has like that sleek packaging. It's just one of my favorite bronzers. I've had this one in my collection a long time, and I would be sad if I didn't have it. And I'm actually, when I was going through my collection, I kind of was going back and forth on which ones I should put in which place, and I kind of went back and forth with this one, but ultimately I landed it where it did. I don't reach for it as much as the other 6 that I have coming up, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, and coming in at number 6 are these ones from The Balm. These are their Take Home the Bronze bronzers. I have 2 different shades, so I have the shade Tony and also the shade Oscar. I believe these have been renamed though. I'm not sure on the names on these ones, what they are now, but I have this one, which is my most used one. This one's a little bit more cooler toned, and then we have this one, which is a little bit more of like a red toned bronzer. So the cooler tone one is actually my favorite. I feel like this is such a good formula. The other shade I do like using, I just don't use it as much in the winter time. I feel like it works better for me in the summertime. I'll go ahead and swatch these so you can see. But this one here is, like I said, this one works a little bit more for me like all the time. This one's just a little bit more in the summertime. It's such a pretty bronzer though. It has the best blendability to this one. I feel like you can never go overboard, and I do really like the packaging. I think it's cute. I like that they have a mirror as well. I think they did such a good job. I love the Balm's packaging in general. I feel like these get a lot of love that I've seen throughout social media, but it's definitely worth it. These are such good bronzers. All right, we are in my top 5 now, which is so exciting. So at number 5, I have this one here from number 7. I actually have hit pan on this one, which doesn't happen for me very often. This is one of my most used bronzers. I love this one. So this one is in Golden Sand. This formula is just so nice. It's so blendable, so buttery, and this shade in particular just looks really good on my skin tone. I feel like, again, I can never go overboard with this one. I do like the packaging. It's a really nice bronzer. I think that this retails for like $12.99, so it's pretty affordable. I don't hear a lot of people talking about them, but I do think that this is just one of my favorites in my collection. I am constantly reaching for this one, as you can see, since I did, like I said, hit pan in it. I actually have a backup of this one because I love it that much. I never want to be without it. And coming in at number 4, this is my Marc Jacobs Fantastic Bronzer. This is one that I was on the fence with for so long. I feel like I just wasn't sure if I should purchase it, and I just always hear people recommending it. I was like, do I need it? Do I need it? And I finally bit the bullet and purchased it, and I'm so glad that I did. It's one of my favorite bronzers. I love the actual compact of it. Like I said, I love how. Okay, and we have my Becca Capri Coast right here, and this one is coming in at number 3. This one is one I'm surprised I haven't hit pan on yet. I think I'm getting close to it though. This one is such a pretty bronzer. It has such a pretty sheen to it. It looks so nice on the skin, especially in the summertime. Like when I'm bronzed, this is like my absolute favorite to use. It almost has a bit of like highlight almost in it. Like it's so sparkly that it has a bit of highlight, but it doesn't like emphasize texture by any means. Like it looks natural on the skin. It looks really radiant. It kind of gives you that glow from within, like Becca's products do. This color is really nice on me. I just really enjoy it. I like the compact of it, and that is why it made it so high on my countdown. I can't wait to reach into these more now that I'm going through them all. I'm like adding these to my desk, and I think this is the one I'm going to use tomorrow because I just love this one so much. Okay, and we are on to my last 2 bronzers. So coming in at number 2 is this one from Motive Cosmetics. Now, Motive Cosmetics is a brand I don't hear very often, but this bronzer is one of my absolute favorites. I'm almost hitting pan on it. This one is in Hampton Socialite. Such a pretty bronzer. It is that cool tone bronze that I was talking about that I like so much, but this one just looks so natural on the skin. It has a tiny bit of sheen to it, but nothing too much. I do like the packaging as well. It's very sleek. It has a mirror, and this one is one that I just feel like you can't go overboard with. Like no matter how much I apply of this one, it just looks very natural on the skin, and I think that this is just like my sweet spot. A little bit of sheen, but nothing too intense. Doesn't highlight texture, anything like that. It's so easy to blend out. That's what I love. Okay, and now we have made it to number 1. If you are still here, you guys will have to let me know what you thought my number 1 bronzer would be, but it is actually the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This guy is well loved, as you can tell. I'm almost out of it. I'm kind of just swirling around the edge at this point. This is one of my most used bronzers, obviously, but my most favoriteest bronzer out of all of them. I just think that this one is just out of the park amazing. I use this one, like I said, constantly. This is the one I prefer for actually contouring my nose, which is just what I love to do with this one, which is kind of why I need to purchase another one, because I've been using it so sparingly just because I love it so much as like a nose contour. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about bronzers. But this one just looks so natural on the skin. It has a tiny bit of sheen to it, but nothing too intense. When I talked about the fragrance earlier with the coffee fragrance, I didn't like that. But this one has the best smell. It smells just like a beach vacation. But this is one where I just can't go overboard with it. No matter how much I apply, I always feel like it looks natural on the skin. Like I said, I love it for nose contour. The price point is really good on this one. They do have quite a few different shade options now, which is really nice. I don't love the packaging on it. I do feel like it's a tiny bit bulky because it has this bottom part. Let's see if I can pull it out here. Yeah, where you can put a little compact on there, and it does have a mirror. I don't love the packaging, but honestly, the product is so good. I don't even care that I don't love the packaging very much. It's just the best bronzer. It's my favorite, it's my most used, and it's my highly most recommended that I recommend to people. So that is it for all of my bronzer collection. Let me know down below if you guys guessed that this would be number one. What's your number one bronzer in your collection? I hope you did enjoy this ranking video. Of course, let me know what other products you guys would like to see me rank next. Comment that down in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.